Write the standard form of the equation of the parabola that has the given vertex and passes through the given point. So in this question, they will give you the vertex of the parabola and also another point that's on this parabola. Okay, so here we can't really say if this parabola is facing up or down. We don't know anything about it except that the vertex is at 1, 2, and also that the point 3, negative 6 is on the graph of this parabola. So to do that, first we have to write out the equation, the vertex form equation of the parabola, which is given by f of x is equal to a times x minus h the whole square plus k. This is our formula, alright, for the equation of a parabola. So I'm going to put that in a box over here. This is our formula that we have to use for this problem. So here, with respect to this formula, we are going to identify what these given numbers are, these points are. So we know that vertex is denoted by the letters H and K, right? So instead of H we can plug in 1, instead of K we can plug in 2 in this formula. A point is actually x and y. This is your x and this is your y. So I'm going to put this as x, and instead of calling this as y, I'm going to call this as f of x, right? So we can identify everything here. We know what is h, we know what is k, we know what is f of x, we know what is x. So we're going to put that all back into this formula and we're going to solve for a, and in the end we're going to write out the formula. So I'll show you how. So instead of f of x, I'm going to plug in the number negative 6. So negative 6 is equal to, I don't know what is a, so a comes down as a. X is the number 3 here. So 3 minus, instead of h, I have the number 1, the whole square, plus, instead of k, I have the number 2. So I'm going to put it in like that. Now, this equation we can solve it for a. So this will be a 3 minus 1 is 2 squared plus 2, and bring down the negative 6 here, which is equal to a times, 2 squared is 4 plus 2 is negative 6, and then to solve for a, we have to first cancel the negative 2 from both sides. They cancel here, and we get a times 4 is the same as 4a. It's the same thing, right? Even if we switch the numbers, it's the same thing when you multiply. So negative 6 and negative 2 is negative 8. So now to solve for a here, we got to cancel the 4 by dividing by 4 on both sides, and we end up getting the value of a as negative 8 divided by 4 is negative 2. So we can write the final equation of this as f of x is equal to, instead of a you can put negative 2, negative 2 x minus, instead of h you can plug in 1 the whole square, instead of k you can plug in 2 plus 2. So in the final answer we don't have to plug in for x and f of x. They stay as variables. We plug in only for a, for h, and for k. Everything else, f of x and x, will remain as the same in the final answer. Alright, so this is the final, this is the vertex form, because the question is asking you to write this in vertex form. That's why we are leaving it like that. So, how about we do one more example? I'm going to have to clear the screen to do that. So question number 2. the vertex is given to be, I'm going to do a question with fractions for the second one. So the vertex is given to be 5 over 2, a fraction 5 over 2, and a fraction negative 3 over 4. So the vertex, I have it in the form of fractions. And a point on this graph, another point on this graph is given to be negative 2, 4. Negative 2, comma 4. So we have to write this in standard form. So I'm going to write out the equation so that we would know what to change this to. So the equation of standard form is like this. F of x is equal to a times x minus h the whole square plus k. Always remember that this is the standard or the vertex form. Okay, so like before, we have to plug in for h, we have to plug in for k, we have to plug in for x, we have to plug in for f of x. Alright, so we know that h is the x term of the vertex, which is 5 over 2. K is the y of the vertex, which is negative 3 over 4 in this case. Instead of x, we plug in the negative 2 is your x, and f of x is 4. Okay, so we have all the things to plug in into this, all the numbers to plug in into this equation. So instead of f of x, I'm going to put 4 is equal to a times, instead of x, I can put in negative 2 minus, now we have a fraction, instead of h I have 5 over 2 the whole square plus, instead of k I have negative 3 over 4. So remember, when you deal with fractions, you have to have this denominator as 1. You have to have the same denominator in order for you to simplify it. So this, if you don't have a denominator, if it's a whole number, the denominator is 1, and you're going to have to change it to the same denominator as this 2 in order for you to simplify it. So I'm going to do this fraction, work for this fraction on the side. Negative 2 minus 5 over 2. So this denominator, we know it's 1. So to make the denominator same, I'm going to multiply the numerator and the denominator with 2. So we get negative 2 times 2 as negative 4 over 2 minus 5 over 2. So combining the numerators, we have negative 9 over 2. So this parenthesis over here becomes negative 9 over 2 the whole square. This plus and minus becomes minus 3 over 4. So we get 4 is equal to a times, when you square negative 9 over 2 the whole square, negative 9 squared becomes 81, 9, and then 2 squared becomes 4. So you're squaring the numerator and writing 81, squaring the denominator and writing 4 there. Minus 3 over 4. So to solve for a, okay, we got to cancel the negative 3 over 4 from both sides. So I'm going to add 3 over 4, add 3 over 4 on both sides, and they cancel, and I have, now I'm going to write the 81 over 4 first. 81 over 4 times a, it doesn't matter if I flip the order in which they are written, and here I gotta add 4 plus 3 over 4, so that's another fraction, so I'm going to do that on the side over here again. 4 plus 3 over 4. This denominator again, you don't have nothing, it's 1. So to make them the same, I'm going to have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 4. 4 times 4, you end up getting 16 over 4 plus 3 over 4. So since we have the same denominators now, we can collect the numerators together and add them and write 16 plus 3 is 19 over 4. So on this side we get 19 over 4. So obviously we can simplify and we can cancel out the same numbers on either side of the equation, and this equation turns out to be 19 is equal to 81 times a. So to solve for a, we gotta divide by 81 on both sides, and 81 and 81 cancels. So we have solved for a here. A is not a pretty number, it's not a whole number, it's a fraction which can't be simplified. It's just 19 over 81, you can leave it like that. So our final answer is going to look like this. In this equation, we're going to substitute for everything except for x and f of x. That's how we write the final answer. So your final answer is f of x is equal to, instead of a, we plug in 19 over 81. 19 over 81. X minus, instead of h, we plug in 5 over 2, the whole square, plus, it says plus k, but k is already a negative number, so plus of minus, positive negative, will become minus 3 over 4. So that is our solution for this problem. That is our final step. Okay, so remember, when we are solving for this problem, the first thing we need to find out is, when we write in standard form or when we write in vertex form, we need to know the a, we need to know h, we need to know k. So they gave us h and they gave us k. So this is our h and this is our k, right? This is our h, this is our k. They did not give us a. So to solve for a, we had to use this point x and f of x. We had to use them. We had to use these 2 points and plug it back into the equation and solve for a. So once we get a, we can plug this back into this equation and write it out.